And welcome to all members of the Subject Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting, which, due to government advice to the public to practice social distancing, will be held virtually with committee members and officers accessing the meeting from rural locations. The meeting is being recorded and will be available by the Council's website to be viewed subsequently. Please can everyone ensure that all mobile phones are either switched off or turned to silent. Members will have received an electronic copy of the agenda on Tuesday the 13th of October, and for the record, the agenda can be viewed on the Council's website. Members and officers will be speaking at various points during the meeting, and those speaking may wish to switch those cameras on at that point. But I would ask that, with the exception of myself as the chairperson, at all other times you keep your cameras and microphones switched off, as this will help minimise any background noise and interference to ensure the connection remains as stable as possible. Please don't use your microphone until you've been invited to do so. Officers from Scrutiny will be supporting the meeting and will be monitoring the use of microphones throughout the meeting, and where necessary will mute those not being used. If members or officers wish to speak to raise a point or question, they should type in the instant messaging icon in the bottom left of the Skype window to type speak, and I will come to the order I receive requests. Please do not use the instant messaging chat to enter questions or comments. So I'll now ask the Scrutiny officer to announce the names of the councillors in attendance at this meeting. Officers are asked to introduce themselves when I invite them to speak, and they should ensure microphones and cameras are switched off when not in use. So, Meryl, can you announce the members in attendance?
Yes, Chair. So the attending members are Councillor Alex Williams, Councillor Amanda Williams, Councillor Bridie Sedgbeer, Councillor Jane Gebby, Councillor Jon-Paul Blundell, Councillor Kenneth Watts, Councillor Martin Jones, Councillor Pam Davis, Councillor Richard Collins, Cllr Roz Stirman, Councillor Stuart Baldwin, Cllr Tom Beedle, Reverend Evans, Councillor Kay Rowlands, Lynsey Morris, and yourself, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, we've still got Reverend Evans not able to hear.
Technical issues. I'm not sure what to do about that. Okay, item 1 then is apologies for absence. So have there been any apologies issued, Meryl?
I haven't received any, Chair.
Are members aware of any apologies? No? Okay, item 2 then are declarations of interest. So if any member or officer has an interest to declare any matter, would you type speak into the instant message chat, and I'll come in turn for you to declare your interest. I know there are a couple that I've already typed them into the chat. Do you need them verbally stated, Meryl, or are you happy to pick them up from the chat?
I think because the recording will be public, we do need them stated on the recording. Sorry, Chair.
Oh, Councillor Tom Beedle then first.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I have a personal interest as LEA member of Cumberland Primary School. I'm also LEA member of my state comprehensive school, and I think it was deemed a prejudicial interest because I'm actually the chair of the Virgin Governors Association, which is an elected position by governors.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, Councillor Alex Williams.
Thank you, Chair. Personal interest as LEA Governor of Pencoed Comprehensive School.
Councillor Blundell.
Thank you, Chair. Personal interest as I am a Community Governor at Kevin Glass Infants.
Okay, Councillor Richard Collins.
Thank you, Chair. Personal interest, LEA Governor at Plasnewydd Junior School, and my Governor at St Mary's and St Patrick's Roman Catholic School. Thank you.
Okay, Cllr Roz Stirman.
Sorry. Thank you. Personal interest as Governor of Betws and Blaengar Federated, LEA Governor.
Okay, Lynsey Morris.
Hi, personal interest. I'm the parent governor at my state comprehensive.
Thank you. And Councillor Gebby.
Thank you, Chair. Personal interest, I'm a Governor for Mynydd Cymvig and Pyle. For you to know, I'm going to log off and try and log back on again because I've got a terrible signal and I'm not getting everything that everybody's saying at this point in time. Thank you.
And for my benefit, I'm an LEA Governor at Tremaines Primary School as well. Okay, Item 3 then is the approval of the minutes of the meetings held the 21st of January, 3rd of February 2020. I know there has been one amendment flagged, Meryl, if you want to just draw attention to it for benefit members.
Yes, Chair, thank you. Just to say that Reverend Evans was not reflected as an attendee in the meeting, in both meetings, so that needs to be corrected. And I think, are there any other corrections?
Okay, so assuming there are no other corrections, can I have a mover and a seconder, please, for the minutes?
I'll move them, Chair.
Councillor Blundell to move. Need a seconder?
I'll second them.
Councillor Amanda Williams then to second. Fantastic, thank you. Okay, item 4 then is the forward work programme update. So I'll ask the scrutiny officer to present the report, and then I'll call upon members who type to speak into the instant message chat in the order that they indicate. The committee is requested to consider the recommendations of the cover report set out in paragraph 9.1 on page 21 of the agenda pack. Meryl.
Thank you, Chair. So it's been some time since the scrutiny of this subject and overview scrutiny committees have met because of the we were about to have our meeting and it was postponed because of the pandemic. We obviously met in the committee met in the meeting in July to look at learner travel and post 16 before the decisions were taken to Cabinet. The report before you today then really, I'm not going to go through it line by line, Chair, but it sets out in section 1 the proposals, which is to bring, to get you together and look at your forward work programme. The forward work programme that was before you, before the pandemic, was really, it's not particularly relevant at this moment in time. We also have we only have like 4 cycles of meeting before the next annual council in May, and there are a number of statutory things that needed to happen in that cycle. So if I take you to section 3, just one moment, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my report. While the committee has been postponed, obviously we've had the establishment of the recovery panel with the aim of shaping, informing and advising Cabinet on the Council's recovery planning to form the basis of the recovery phase of the pandemic.
Hello.
Just one moment, I'll deal with that.
Someone mute Reverend Evans.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's done. So the panel, the recovery panel, met 6 times and heard from 5 sets of invitees between the 4th and 25th of August and produced recommendations to Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Committee on the 7th of September, which were then reported on to Cabinet on the 15th of September. And a formal response from the Cabinet is expected imminently. The recovery panel is now awaiting the Public Service Board's Community Impact Assessment to consider the findings before selecting the next area of focus to be examined in greater detail in the next phase. We've also touched on the combined meeting of Subject Overview and Scrutiny Committees 1 and 2 was postponed and held in July. And Scrutiny considered the proposals for post-16 education and learner travel and made recommendations to Cabinet. And the decisions were taken by Cabinet in July and September. The planning and preparations for this year's cycle of budget research and evaluation panel have commenced well ahead of the first meeting on the 24th of July, with 3 meetings being supported to date and arrangements underway for the 4th meeting. I know a lot of the members from this committee will be included in REP. And the recovery panel also. The subject overview and scrutiny committees didn't recommence while scrutiny officers supported the recovery panel during August and to enable the panel to conclude its initial recommendations to be reported to COSC and Cabinet in September. The schedule of meetings for the remaining municipal year was agreed at annual council on the 30th of September. As the recovery panel has now been established, it is recognised that moving forward, meetings of subject overview and scrutiny committees would need to be focused and strategic to avoid a duplication of work. Under the terms of the Council's constitution, each overview and scrutiny committee must publish a forward work programme as far as it is known. An effective forward work programme identifies issues the committee wishes to focus on during the year and provide a clear rationale. And the forward work programmes will remain flexible and be revised, as we've always done. We'll revisit them at each meeting with input from each subject and overview and scrutiny committee. The current position is that following Animal Council on the 30th September, the scheduling of standing statutory reports to the scrutiny committees upon the medium-term financial strategy, performance, the corporate plan, budget monitoring and the scrutiny annual report has been mapped. The forward work programme update report is being submitted to the committee for consideration, and the outcome will be fed back to the COSC on the 2nd of December to set a focused interim overall scrutiny forward work programme. At the time of reporting, the Council has been advised that the local government financial settlement from Welsh Government will be later than expected, and so the scrutiny of the medium-term financial strategy will need to be considered by scrutiny committees after Cabinet considers the draft MTFS proposals on the 19th of January and not in the December cycle of meetings as originally planned. Consequently, arrangements are now being made to move the date of the January meetings to facilitate this, subject to approval by Council, which is a requirement for all dates that are of meetings that are moved. As we've moved forward the MTFS from December to January, it's proposed that it would be timely that the committee received an updated briefing from the Corporate Director Education and Family Support upon the impact of COVID-19 pandemic upon the Education and Family Support Service area and the operational response at its next meeting on Monday the 7th of December. The committee is therefore asked to identify any specific information they would like to be included in this update for their next meeting. With regard to the other meetings of scrutiny after the MTFS, the committee is requested to identify any further items for consideration on the interim scrutiny forward work programme for the remainder of the municipal year of calendar of meetings using the criteria form. I'm not suggesting necessarily that you need to do that today, Chair, but just you will have the committee obviously has the opportunity at every meeting to set its forward work programme and amend it and to set out what it wants to see in those items. So you may wish, as a committee, given the unprecedented sort of times we find ourselves in, and that we're just about to go into another short lockdown, that you may wish to wait until the next meeting of scrutiny to set your further topics, and there is room to do that and still request them in time, but it's a matter for the committee. Other parts of the report deal with the corporate parenting responsibility, which links in with another report that we'll be looking at later on the agenda today. And we're also, in 4.8 of the report, we're looking at the Welsh Local Government Association training. Members may recall that there was questioning skills training for scrutiny members and training for scrutiny chairs postponed from April because of the lockdown. But the WLGA can now offer the training via Microsoft Teams software, which has recently been rolled out to members' devices. So it's therefore proposed that the following sessions be organised via Microsoft Teams: one session of scrutiny questioning skills for all scrutiny members, and one session of scrutiny chairs training for the 3 scrutiny chairs and the chair of the Budget Research and Evaluation Panel, the chair of the Cross-Party Recovery Panel, and the chair of the Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel. And then if I take you to the recommendations on in paragraph 9 of the bundle, you'll see the committee is asked to confirm the proposed initial items for the committee's draft interim forward work programme in paragraph 4.3, which is the MTFS for January, and 4.4, which is the update from the director. B, identify any specific information the committee wishes to be included in the item for the next meeting, which is the update from the director. And C, whether the committee wants to identify any further items on the work programme for the remainder of the municipal calendar using the agreed criteria form, or if they wish to wait until the next meeting to set that, Chair. And I think that's everything for this report.
Okay, just before we come in on questions, and members have the opportunity now to ask to speak in the chat, just checking that for your records, you've noticed Councillor Davis has joined the meeting later, may not have been recorded at the beginning, and I just wanted to check that Reverend Evans can now hear us as well.
Councillor Gifford, Reverend Evans, I spoke to him, but unfortunately he's just not able to hear us, even with me holding my phone to the screen. Unfortunately he can't, so I think he's accepted that he can't hear this meeting, so I think he's probably left the meeting, but he's happy to take an update afterwards and watch the meeting afterwards, okay, on this occasion.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Okay, are there any members that wish to speak on forward work programme? I think the key is, I had a meeting with scrutiny officers this morning. I think the key from my perspective was about the fluidity and the flexibility in perhaps the forward work programme, because I'm sure whenever last year's forward work programme would have been set, you know, there would have been a range of topics probably that would have arisen throughout the year that, you know, we necessarily think would matter. And so as a result, you know, whilst I want to set a forward work programme, keep to it as rigidly as we possibly can, there is that flexibility, isn't there, Meryl, built into the system, that if we need to change dates of meetings or topics or move them around, that is within our gift to be able to do.
Chair, there is some flexibility. I do. The caveat to that is council has to sign off any changes of dates, and obviously we can't bring things too far forward that we can't get the reports commissioned, and also the MTFS has to actually meet the timetable for setting the budget for council. So there is flexibility, and we will look at the committee will have their forward work programme at every meeting to review, so that continues.
Okay, thank you. All right. So there's no members that wish to speak, I can say. So what now then? Do we just
the recommendations then on page on 9.1a? Do members wish to confirm the proposed initial items for the committee's draft interim forward work programme in paragraphs 4.3 and 4.4?
Okay. Okay. Can I get a mover then and a seconder for that then on the recommendations for item 4?
Move. Second.
And Chair, then, if anything specific needs to be included from the committee's point of view in the next item in December.
Okay, thanks. Right, item 5 then is the Corporate Parenting Champion nomination report. First, our scrutiny officer to present the report, and then I'll call on members who wish to speak into the chat in the order that they indicate. So the committee has been requested to nominate one member as its corporate parenting champion to represent the committee at the committee at meetings of the Cabinet Corporate Parenting Committee. So Meryl, can you present the report?
Yes, Chair. Members will probably remember that this is something that this is a report that comes to you after every annual council. Obviously, this year we were belated in having the annual council because of the pandemic. So following the 30th September annual council, we're asking for nominations from each of the SOC meetings, SOC committees for a corporate parenting champion. And I think last year the nomination was Councillor Jane Gebby, and we'll just be looking for a nomination from the committee and a seconder, subject to the person being happy to be nominated.
Can I get a nomination then, please, from the committee? Councillor Baldwin has proposed Councillor Gebby. Can I have a seconder for that?
I'll second Councillor Gebby.
Okay. Okay. No other nominations? Okay. Brilliant. Well, I know Councillor Gebby's not actually here at the moment to confirm whether she wants that, but presumably that will be okay, and we can come back to it if we need to. Okay, item 6 then is the nomination to Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel, and the same deal as before. I'll ask Meryl to present the report, and then I'll call upon members to speak. And the committee is asked to nominate one member to sit on the Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel, so I'll ask Meryl to present that report.
Thank you, Chair. Likewise, with the last report, this is something that we do after annual council. Last year, the committee nominated Councillor Ken Watts as its nomination to the Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel. We're really looking for one nomination again for this year, and for a seconder, and for the person nominated to be happy to continue. So,
yeah, I wish to withdraw this year, Chair.
Okay, no problem. Are there any nominations then for the Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel member? Oh, Councillor Gebby's back. Just to fill you in, Councillor Gebby, I hope it's okay with you. You were renominated and seconded to continue as our corporate parent and committee representative.
Yes, okay? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. Any nominations then for the Public Service Board? None.
I'm not sure if Councillor Gebby could hear when Councillor Watts said that he didn't want to continue for this year for Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel nomination.
I was just joining at that time, Meryl. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, Chair, if no one else wants it, I'll put my name forward again. I'm happy to carry on then.
Would you like to second Councillor Watts?
I'll second it.
Brilliant. Okay, so Councillor Watts then is our nomination to the Public Service Board Scrutiny Panel. That's brilliant. So there's item 7 then is urgent items. There are no urgent items. So in which case I draw this meeting to a close, and thank you all very much for your time and for attending this afternoon.